Hello, it's me, Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and I have a question for you. Were you born an atheist? Now, that comes up a lot, and I have a better question for you. Were you born a theist? No, of course, you were not born a theist. A theist believes that there is a God, and babies do not believe that there's a God because babies don't believe anything. They don't even understand language. They don't have any beliefs. They have no concept of God. They have no concept. Maybe their parents are God. Maybe their mother is God to them. But they have no concept of religion, obviously. So babies are not born theists. Does that make them atheists? I guess technically you could say they are, but they are born without belief. I was born without belief. It wasn't until I was told about God that I started thinking about God and was given the opportunity to believe in God. And as a very young child, I'm sure I believed in God. I don't really remember believing in God, but I'm sure I did because I believed there was a Santa Claus. And basically, you believe whatever your parents tell you, and that's usually how it starts. But you don't start off believing in God. In fact, if you were raised in this day and age with the knowledge that we have, and you were given a proper education, and you were given actual answers to questions you have, and I'm sure you would have questions like, where did we come from? Where did the universe come from? What made everything? Those are understandable questions. But if you were given an honest answer, even an answer like, we don't know is an honest answer. God did it is not an honest answer. I gotta jump in and interrupt myself because, as usual, I'm running off on a tangent and I'm never gonna answer the question or get to finish the point I was trying to make, which is if you raise a child to know the world around them and not use God as the excuse for the answer, then they will not really think of God. They will not need a God to explain things to them because they will have naturalistic answers to explain things. And even not knowing the few things that we don't know won't be enough to need a God. God was always used as the fill-in answer for what we didn't know. For millennia, for generations, God was the go-to answer for things that we didn't know. And if you could raise a child without that need to use God as the fill-in answer, then they would not need a God. They would not believe in a God because God would not even come up. God would not even occur to them, most likely. But God is so omnipresent in the social structure that a child could never really be raised that way because God is just, or the concept of God is everywhere. And people say that we're hardwired to believe in God or believe in religion, and I accept that. We're hardwired to do a lot of things. We're hardwired to like sex, but that doesn't mean there's a God. We're hardwired not because that there is a God, but because the need for answers is hardwired. And God was the fill-in answer that we had for thousands upon thousands of years. Way before Christianity, we had other gods to explain things. So that's a child raised without God as the answer would never need God as an answer. But that's the point I was trying to make. Now I'm going to run off on a tangent. God did it is more than a cop-out. God did it is just a goddamn lie. Because even if God did do it, you don't know God did it. You don't even know what God is. If you think there's a God, you don't know what God is. You pretend you know what God is. You read the Bible and say, that's God. But it explains nothing of what God is or could be. God is a mythical creature. God is mythology. God is built on generations upon generations upon generations upon generations upon generations of people who did not know how things came to be, who did not know how humans came to be or where everything came from. So they created gods to answer that question. That's where gods comes from. That's where the concept of gods come from. And we learn that. We learn that later in life. We learn that after we learn language, after we understand who people are, who we are, who our family is. We learn about God after we learn the basics of life. Now, many babies are baptized as soon as they're born, or they're baptized before they understand language, but they don't know about God. They just go along with it because that's what babies do. You take them somewhere, they go. I mean, they don't really argue much about it. And when you start telling them about God, they just accept it because, again, that's what babies do. They accept whatever you tell them. We are not born theists. Technically, we're born atheists. You can argue about that. I don't think you're an atheist until you've understood what God is and have questioned God and have decided that the God concept makes no sense and you don't accept it. Not that you don't accept God, because you don't think there is a God, so it's not a question of accepting it or not. But being born an atheist, not really. I prefer now to say you're born a non-theist. You don't think about religion. You don't believe anything because you don't know anything. You're a baby. Anyways, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and maybe this is a new series because this is actually the third time I've broached this subject. I don't even say tackled it because it's very mushy and you can't really tackle it. Anyways, catch you next time.